Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I get to simplify the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and most important, your enjoyment in practice too. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about something pretty fun, pretty special, inspired by a $1,500 paperclip. Yes, you heard that right, 1500, a $1,500 paperclip as well. The ordinary office supply that many of us probably wouldn't pay 1 cent for turned into opulence and luxury by none other than Tiffany Co. I was scrolling through the webs and I came across this paperclip and the drama that surrounds it as well. But it got me thinking, what is it that makes a brand so incredibly strong, so powerful, that it can transform an everyday item into something that is a piece of luxury that people clamor for, that they want to invest incredible amounts of money. Now, after thinking about this, I kind of put it into a grouping of 6 different branding strategies. Now, these strategies have not only carried Tiffany into the company that it is, but in behind all premium brands, you will see elements of these. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about how we can use these premium branding strategies in our practice. Now, this might be that you want to increase your fees. Maybe it is that you want to create levels of exclusivity and scarcity, or maybe you just want to create a more predictable flow of new people coming into you. So in each of these 6 different branding strategies, I'm going to break them down into how you might use them across your website, on your socials, how you might use them in your patient interactions, and how you might use them kind of broader in your practice environment. So let's dive into it. This first of the branding strategies is all about brand reputation and trust. When we think about Tiffany's, we think about luxury. Now, it's a brand that has over 180 years of heritage. And because of this, they've built a reputation in around quality and craftsmanship. So when you buy Tiffany's, there's an expectation that this is not going to be something that's gimmicky, it will last, and you're getting something that's worthwhile and reliable. Now, when it comes to brand reputation and trust, this is one of those things that it's difficult to enter the market immediately and have this same level of brand loyalty and trust. And so this of the categories I'll go through may be the only one of them that might take some time to build. And that being said, we can enter the market immediately and signal with lots of trust characteristics. In fact, back in episode 321, I talked about all the things that you can do to build trust in your community, guys. So focusing on building trust and a strong reputation in your community is one of the first things that we want to be working on. So how would we do this across our website? And let's look at the socials, and then we'll go into patient interactions, and then finally we'll finish off with our practice environment as well. So, our website, we want to make sure that we have things like our credentials there. So highlight your qualifications, any extra study that you've done, professional memberships, accreditations, years of experience. You could even showcase your professional journey. These are things that will build trust. Now, if I'm having a discussion with chiropractors about these things, particularly with regards to website, they might say, look, I'm not a part of any memberships and, I don't have any extra qualifications. My answer to that is go get some. Like, why are you not a part of any other group? Are you not wanting to constantly learn? Do you know it all? We should be always, and I say that a bit cheekily and facetiously, but if we're not part of, professional groups, find one that you align with so that we're investing our time and we're learning for them. But we want to make sure that we are putting these things up. These are third-party trust signals that we're doing. Of course, making sure that we have informative content, well-researched, clear and accurate information about the care that you provide, okay? Explain how you follow industry best standards, and any advancements that happen in the chiropractic field. These are the things that will help to build reputation and trust. Privacy and security are essential. So this might be as little as, if you look at your website, there are a number of chiropractors' websites that I go to now, and I'll get a security warning that pops up because of Safari or Google Chrome that I'm on there too. And this means that they are an HTTP and they don't have the S there, so they don't have that website security. Now, this gives a warning on most browsers now, and it's going to immediately detract from your website. So how do you check this? Hopefully your web person is doing this for you. But when you type in your web name, even if it's just anguspyke.com, and then you actually look at the full thing that fills in there, are you an HTTPS or just HTTP. Now, without that S there, there's a lack of security that's missing. This will be flagged by the browser, and you'll miss out on brand reputation and trust. What about on the social media? How do we build brand reputation and trust on there? Again, informative post. You'll notice as we go through this, there's areas of overlap that happen between all of these. It's not just clear categories of this is what we do for brand loyalty and trust, and this is what we do in the other strategies, but we'll focus on specifics. So social media, again, share insights, tips, general advice about chiropractic care. You could also post about research. Research is a language of trust. If you're not citing research, and again, little things like if you're talking about research, make sure you have the study there with you in your hand, that you're sharing, that it brings credibility and builds trust with it as well. But we also want to make sure that we do this in a really easy to understand manner. We don't want to be confusing people. Sometimes in an attempt to sound clever and to build authority, we use all our big words, and actually what this does is alienates people. Engagement is incredibly important. Are you regularly engaging with your followers? Are you responding to their comments and their questions in a really professional and friendly manner? Many of you aren't responding to people who comment. Just going back, being courteous, seeing if you can actually not only just respond, but can you actually start to create a dialogue that going back and forwards? These are things that the social media platforms really loves to see us having dialogues with our clients on there as well, with our audience. Consistency. Posting consistency is a really strong trust indicator. If you're there some weeks, disappears, same thing, across your website as well. If it hasn't been updated and your site still looks like the, late 1990s, early 2000 websites. In fact, in doing some research for this episode, I was looking through a practitioner that I've heard of, and I looked at his website, and you could tell this website hadn't been updated for decades, not just years, but for decades. It had that same feel about it there as well. And you automatically lose a little bit of brand reputation and trust when we do that as well. What about patient care? When we're looking at the category of patient care, what things can we do to build brand reputation and trust? Transparency, professionalism, personalized care, these are all things. So, are you transparent about your procedures, their costs, the expected outcomes? This helps our community make informed choices, okay? So transparency is one of those things that's really important for trust as well. Consistently demonstrating professionalism through being punctual, friendly, attentive care. Now, I know there are things that can throw us out of whack from a time point of view, but if you're always running 30 to 45 minutes late, then there's a planning issue that you have in there. Either you're spending too much time or you don't have breaks in there that allow you to kind of catch up. These are things that rob you of brand reputation. These are things that are taking away from premium branding, that is costing you in referrals, and it's costing you in income as well. So what about practice environment? To wrap this section up here again, cleanliness, organization, a welcoming atmosphere, professional staff. These are all really important if we want to build brand reputation and trust. Clean, well-organized clinic, welcoming environment, staff members that are well-trained, courteous and respectful. Now remember, brand reputation and trust is a long-term endeavor. This is not something that we can just kind of drop in this afternoon, but it is something that this afternoon or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, that you should start to implement. And I've got, again, there's a whole episode in episode 321 when we talk about this. So let's go on to premium branding strategy number 2, and this is exclusivity and scarcity, okay? So Tiffany often introduces limited edition products or designs. I've become fascinated with watches of recent, and there are different watches co-branding that Tiffany does. And Ed Sheeran, the musician Ed Sheeran, is a really big watch buff. And I was listening to him talk about a particular watch that he was after, which is a co-branded watch with Tiffany and another watch producer as well. And it took him 5 years to get this watch. Now, what that immediately tells me is there's a level of exclusivity and scarcity. Now, he could have got one through backdoor means, but for him to actually get one through Tiffany, it took 5 years. Now, it's that level of exclusivity and scarcity that builds a tremendous amount of luxury branding and premium branding as well. Now, remember, the goal in creating a sense of exclusivity and scarcity isn't to necessarily, although it could be, to exclude or limit access. It's about making your patients feel that they're receiving something special and the services that they're getting with you, they wouldn't get elsewhere. Okay, so you don't have to limit, but it's them thinking, hey, I cannot get this type of care, I cannot get this type of attention and service elsewhere. This is why it's a premium brand experience. So what could we do with our website to help to flavor that premium branding experience to create exclusivity and scarcity? Again, Highlight what is unique about what you do, the techniques that you do, the people that you look after. What is the effort and expertise and the high quality resources that you have in your practice that's different from elsewhere? Now, you could offer special services that are only available through your website. So, I was talking with a client last week about a set of exercises that he gives to each and every of their new patients. And one of the things that I suggested that he do is he had this on an area of his website that is password protected, or at least not open to the public. This increases perceived value, and particularly if it's framed the right way. It says, listen, I've got lots of other free content that I share across my website, but this stuff here, this is only for my patients. This is exclusivity and this is scarcity as well. You could offer priority access. So there could be certain amounts of or kinds of appointments or booking or consultation slots that are only available for maybe, wellness patients, people that have been with you for a long time. Maybe you might even have some, exclusive pricing for those people that when they get to a certain level, okay? So these are all things that we could showcase through our website. With regards to the social media, again, we can build exclusivity by sharing behind the scenes content. This gives our audience, our patients and prospective patients, the ability to see, again, the unique process and the expertise that goes into the delivery of your care. Unique insights and expertise. Again, what are the insights and tips that you could share? And again, maybe this is only available on your social media pages. And you could think about having specific closed groups. Now, we can do this on Facebook. Again, instead of having your Instagram page open, maybe you have an Instagram closed page that's only available for patients. And if you're sharing high quality content that's valuable on there, that level of exclusivity and scarcity will go well towards helping with premium branding. What about patient care? What could we do here as well? Again, re-emphasize the personalized care plans, take into account the entire patient, their health history, their lifestyle, their future goals as well. Maybe there's exclusive access to new services or techniques, things that happen inside the practice, workshops that you have that are only for patients, special trainings that you have for only patients here as well, okay? What about our practice environment? How do we add that sense of exclusivity or scarcity, okay? So think about a distinctive environment, limited patient volume. Now, many of us are listening to coaches out there that are all about maximizing the volume. And I understand why that. When I was in practice full time, there was a certain goals that I had in around reaching a large number of people. But one of the things that you could do if you wanted to create exclusivity and scarcity is limit. So there's only so many patients that we'll take care of, okay? In order for you to get a new patient visit here, someone needs to leave. Now that can be a little scary and that might not be something that you want to start with to begin with, but this is certainly something that you could add in with regards to time. There is a dentist here in Australia, a guy by the name of Paddy Lund up in Queensland, north of Australia here. And one of the things that he did is that the only way that you could become a new patient at his practice is you had to receive a referral card from one of his existing clients. And so when you became an existing client, you got given 2 referral cards. That's it. You could only ever refer 2 people into the practice. So he did things like, he got rid of all of his signage, he got rid of his front desk, he stopped advertising, he created a real level of exclusivity in his practice. He made things very different. He had a cappuccino machine there, he served, beautiful food in fine china. These are things inside of his practice environment where he created a real level of exclusivity as well, okay? So what is it that you can do across those 4 different areas? All right, so premium brand strategy number 3 is all about storytelling and brand storytelling. When we think about Tiffany's and we think about the advertisements that we might see, we think about romance and luxury. It's an old worldly type sort of feel. And given it's a company that's 180 years old, it reflects that. The colors, the feel, the tone, all that sort of stuff goes through it. Their brand is full of romance, luxury, and glamour. And this, of course, appeals to the emotions of many of their customers, and it links in with a premium brand. Now, if we compare that to something like Walmart or even Target, now these are businesses that have really strong branding, but they're not premium branding, they're not luxury branding, and as a result, their pricing strategy is very different. And so we need to consider here what sort of branding that we're wanting. Are we wanting just a volume practice that's all about convenience and for families? Then maybe if this is the case, the brand story that you're going to tell will be very different from a Tiffany's type sort of brand. So how do we put this forward, first of all, across our website? Well, we might want to consider, what have we got written on our About Us page? Are you sharing the personal story of what motivated you to become a chiropractor? Are you talking about your mission, your vision, your core values of your practice? Now remember, there are a certain number of people that are coming on to see a chiropractor because it's just a commodity. They want to go in there and they want to get their back or neck cracked. There are other people that are looking for a guide. They're looking to somebody to partner with them in their health journey. These are the people that are more likely to want a premium branding experience, and they want a chiropractor that has a vision, a mission, a purpose. They want to understand what their why is behind what's going on, okay? We use things like our blog to share and update our story. There's a feeling that goes through it where we're constantly talking about what is important to us. Why do we do what we do, okay? Community involvement. If your practice participates in local events, charities, or initiatives, then we want to highlight this on our website. This tells the story of who we are and how we interact with our community. Again, very similar when it comes to social media, behind the scenes, educational content, sharing your vision. These are all the things that what you want to be doing is making sure that you're not flip-flopping back and forwards. I said this recently, that if we're telling the story of athletes for 1 week and then we disappear and all of a sudden we're talking about sciatica and now we're all about laser treatment and then next week we're about massage, this is not premium branding story. We're not telling that one story. We want to be sticking to, are you vitalistic, pediatric, subluxation based? Are you all about laser? Are you all about looking after athletes or office workers? Whatever it is, we want to use the social media to put out a consistent message with that as well. Patient care. Again, personalized communication. Take the time to get to know your patients' stories and enroll them in your stories as well. So we do this by constantly sharing our why. We're all looking to get and be a part of a bigger vision. There was research done recently that was asking, many people, when you're wanting to choose a company to do business with, what is important for you? And the why behind the company vision, the mission, is one of those things that's incredibly important to a lot of purchasers. So we need to be making sure that we're sharing that. And of course, our practice environment should be reflecting our brand story as well. So if our brand story is luxury, our environment should look luxury. If our brand story is more everyday person, Walmart and Target, then our environment should reflect that also. So premium branding strategy number 4 for us as chiropractors, if we're wanting to increase the fees, if we're wanting to increase the number of people, the desire for us to come in here, is product quality and innovation. The very fact that Tiffany's created a gold paperclip is innovation. When we think about innovation, we often think about technology, but technology is just one form of innovation, okay? This is an old school form of innovation, which is a paperclip, which is valued at $1,500, okay? So making sure that you are heavily investing in innovation, in product quality, craftsmanship, these are things here that are essential to premium branding. And so this across your website should look like things like a really detailed service description, okay? Provide exact explanations of your services, highlight the quality of your technique, the state-of-art equipment that you use, and how you stay updated with the latest research. So what tables do you use? What equipment? Do you have the same tables that you had 15 years ago? Are you using the same equipment? Are you using the same techniques? Now remember, what we're subconsciously saying, if we're not updated our techniques, in decades, is that there's nothing new to learn. This is it. This is as good as I'm going to get. Now that is not innovation. This is what has us feeling bored and burnt out. If you're still practicing more or less the same way that you were 5 years ago, know that there's some form of burnout or boredom that's coming your way, okay? Educational content, regularly updating your website with blogs, discussing the latest innovations in chiropractic care, again, sharing research as well. Professional imagery. Stop using stock imagery. Invest in, imagine that if Tiffany's just went to, stock images and showed a bunch of, people wearing diamond rings. They're not. There's a very specific feel they have. One of the things that you want to do is invest in a photographer to come on in and take photographs of you doing your thing, you and your staff, interacting with patients behind the scenes. This form of quality imagery will really be important in building that sort of luxury premium branding on your website. And again, social media, we want to make sure that we're sharing innovations and trends. What's new? What's happening? What seminars are you going to? What are you learning? What new things are you bringing into the practice? And again, showcase your equipment and the techniques. Patient care is really the delivery of that. Again, we're letting our patients know of the continual learning. When we learn something new and we're doing it with them, let them know, hey, I was at a seminar on the weekend. I learned this fantastic new thing. We're going to do this with you today. So quality of care, strive for excellence. How many of you really the goal for your patient care is excellence? And if it's not, why not? What's getting in the way of you wanting to just deliver an excellent product? Because if we do everything else, but the product isn't excellent, if the product that we're delivering is not, quality, if there's not innovation that's happening, we're going to really struggle with our premium branding. And of course, again, our practice environment needs to reflect that, modern clinic design, okay? Technology integration, where is technology in your practice? Are you still writing on old bits of paper? Do you have electronic booking that's happening? Are you bringing in innovation? On to point number 5 here is, again, no surprises here. And this is often the first one when we think about premium branding, is just superior customer experience. So Tiffany's customers are treated to a luxurious shopping experience, both in-store and online. If you ever go into certain of the Tiffany stores I've been into, somebody's there to open the door for you. So they're there to greet you. They say hi. Inside the office is, they're immaculately clean. Do you call it an office, a shop? Retail store, but it just looks beautiful. The staff are smiling, they're happy, they're healthy looking. Everything is, there's that sense of luxury that you can experience the moment that you step inside there too. And this, again, how do we reflect this across our website? Well, firstly, it's in user-friendly design. How difficult is it for me to navigate through your website? Again, one of the things I see on so many chiropractors' websites is that there's so many things to choose from, okay? The menu item should be very simple, okay? It's about us, it's a blog, it's contact us. That's the information as I scroll through. Is there, is it easy for me to get my way around? Is there an online booking system? And is it easy to use? Because that can be another one. There's many online booking systems I've interacted with, but they're more complex than launching a rocket, okay? The details I have to go through, it makes it too hard. Online booking is all about convenience. And again, accessible information. How hard is it for me to find your contact information? How hard is it for me to find out what hours that you're opening? Now, social media, again, we should think about, prompt responses. Again, ease, if I'm going to reach out with a question to you through your DM, and if I've commented on one of your posts, how long does it take for you to get back to me? So we're looking for responsiveness here. And again, there should be a feel through this entire kind of social media web thing there too of customer experience. We might want to start to look at things like chatbots. The chatbots now are starting to get very good. In the early days there too, I found them more frustrating. In fact, they were a poor customer experience. But sometimes, provided that you let me know, I think that's fair, that this is a chatbot, sometimes the experience can be great because I can have answers get back to me really quickly. What about our patient care? Well, I think this starts at real personalized attention. What are you doing to make that person feel special? Are you giving them a follow-up phone call after their first adjustment? One of the things that we used to do regularly in our practice is just write short little notes to our patients. And sometimes they were just, hey, thinking of you. We love having you in the practice. When you're in here, it seems like our practice is a brighter, happier place. And we want to thank you for the trust that you've shown in us. So we can take time and the moments to really acknowledge our patients. Birthday cards, flowers and special occasions there too, celebrating when somebody's got a job, a promotion. These are sort of things there that start to create this real personalized experience. A practice environment that has a comfortable setting, professional staff, staff in uniforms that really reflect the brand, that are showing up in a professional way, that look the part as well. And again, efficiencies. So minimizing things like waiting times. We talked about this beforehand. If you are running late, which sometimes happens, I get it. Can you reach out for a phone call for people? Let them know, hey, listen, we're 20 minutes late. If you have any other jobs to do beforehand, then get those done. Or can I find another time for you? So all aspects of customer experience, superior experience there as well, is about being attentive, responsive, and making each person feel valued and cared for. Now, regardless of whether you want to go for a premium feel or you want to be kind of Walmart or Target there too, this is something I believe we all, it costs us nothing. It will really boost the retention and the referrals if we're giving somebody a great experience. So our final premium branding strategy we're going to talk about here is just consistent branding. Let's actually get into the graphic design branding side of things there too. So Tiffany's branding is unmistakable. In fact, their branding is so damn good, I could just show you a color and you know that that's Tiffany's. That's the effort that they have gone to for that Tiffany blue as well. So, their iconic blue boxes, the elegant typography, the feel inside. I feel like I could go into a Tiffany store and you could put me straight in and I'd know it's a Tiffany store even if I didn't come in through the front door as well. So consistent branding ensures that our message as chiropractors remains uniform across all platforms. It means that every interaction that we make, that means that our practice is very easily recognizable. That's the goal of it from there as well. So this helps, our audience immediately identify our brand. So think about it, okay? Let's have a look at our website to begin with. Let's talk about kind of unified aesthetics, okay? So consistent colors, fonts, and imagery that lines across everywhere, inside your practice, on the website, across the socials there as well. Consistent messaging, okay? So our message, not just our colors and our typography, but the message is part of our branding. Logo and tagline, make sure that we are displaying these prominently across all places that we have inside the practice and outside the practice as well. So social media, when we jump from our website to our social media, there should be a brand feel there, okay? This is important. In advertising, sometimes it's referred to as AdSense. And so if I happen to be on social media and I'm looking at the feel and the colors and then I jump over to your website, it should continue through there. It helps to make the journey much more easy and less stressful neurologically for our potential patients. So, think about things like, if you're inside of Canva, then you should go to the time to actually set up a brand template. Really easy to do, which means every time I post, it prompts me to use these colors first and these fonts. Consistent voice. We've said this through there, particularly with regards to building trust. But consistent voice is all about, what you're talking about. Where do I want to position myself as an expert and authority? And who do I want to show up for in my community? Patient care, let's have a look at that too, okay? So a uniform patient experience, okay? Predictability. Systems come into this as well. Consistent communication. The practice environment should be a branded environment. Consistent staff behavior. Do you have branded forms everywhere? I've seen some chiropractors that have branded posters. It's branded to their practice. So rather than just having, handouts in their practice, the handouts are branded with their practice logos on it. This is part of premium branding across the board, and it's the basics that we need to make sure that we're doing, okay? So let's briefly review those 6 premium branding strategies, and then I want to give you some steps to begin with. How would we start to kind of measure this if we wanted to go forwards, okay? So the first thing to start with in terms of a premium branding strategy was all about brand reputation and trust. Now remember, building trust and reputation is something that takes time, but it is something that we want to begin with almost immediately as well. The next thing was all about exclusivity and scarcity. Now remember, the goal here with creating exclusivity and scarcity isn't to exclude people, okay? But it's to make sure that our patients, our practice members, are feeling like they're receiving something special that they wouldn't get elsewhere, okay? That's exclusivity and scarcity also. Brand storytelling. What is the story of your brand, and are you telling it? Are you giving them the why? Remember, it's that why that tends to really attract people towards us as well. Product quality and innovation. How good is the product that you deliver, and has there been any innovation? And if not, why not? Have you learned everything that there is to learn? Number 5 here is a superior customer experience. Just give people a wonderful experience there too. And then the final one here is all about consistent branding. Now, one of the ways that you could go about measuring where you're up to and start to get some feedback on this is with a concept called a net promoter score. Now, my guess is if you haven't heard of this term beforehand, my guess is that you have experienced one or participated in one at some stage. There's probably been a customer, whether it be I get one regularly from GoDaddy and from many of the clients. In fact, I got one from Nike recently that just asked a question on a scale of 0 to 10. How likely are you to recommend our practice or our product to a friend or a colleague? Okay, so and there's a simple scale underneath. Okay, it's a very quick survey to do. Okay, it's called the Net Promoter Score as well. And I'll explain to you a little bit about how it works. So you could just send an email to all of your existing clients and ask them that question. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend our practice to a friend or a colleague? Now, the way that we go through and score this is really simple, and I'll explain that to you as well, okay? The promoters are those that score you on a 9 to a 10. So these are the most enthusiastic and loyal patients. These are the ones who keep on returning, and they're the ones who are most likely referring to your practice. We want lots of these promoters. Then there's the passives, is what I really like about. These are the people that score you a 7 or 8. These patients are satisfied with your service, but they're not enthusiastic enough to promote your practice. And given the opportunity, they might likely switch to another practice if the opportunity is better there as well. And then finally, we have the detractors. So these are anybody who score you from 0 to 6. These are people who are most likely unhappy and who could potentially damage our brand through negative word of mouth. And they're not likely to be coming in all that often, and it's almost impossible that they would be referring to you, okay? So we've got the promoters, score you on a 9 to 10, the passives, 7 to 8, and the detractors, 0 to 6. Now, the way that we calculate this is we subtract the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters. So we ignore the people in the 7 to 8. Okay, so if we had, let me give you an example. Okay, so if we had 100 people that we sent this survey out to them, and 50 of them were in the 9 to 10 zone, and 30 of them were in the 0 to 6 zone, and therefore 20 of them were in the 7 to 8. I'm doing maths on the fly here. We would take that 30 from 50, and our net promoter score would be 20. Okay, so again, in order for us to get this, in fact, the fastest way, if you just did a quick Google search on net promoter score, it'll walk you through this. It's a really very simple and incredibly powerful tool for you to find out where am I with regards to all of this. Now, sometimes what you can do along with this is you can have an open-ended question as well, which is how could we improve our service? You know, what things would you like us to innovate with? What changes would you like to see at the practice? And what you should be doing is benchmarking yourself, whether it be on a quarterly or at least half yearly. You should be sending this email out to your practice members and seeing how am I going on this net promoter score. And this will give you some feedback on perhaps where am I with my premium branding, what can I do to improve. Now again, a reminder to wind this back up. The power of premium branding is what allows someone like Tiffany's to charge $1,500 for a paperclip, okay? And not only do they do this, but this paperclip has become almost legendary. They're very hard to get now. They're not selling them at the moment as far as I can see. And there was a real rush to get one. Imagine what you could do. Now, maybe you're scared to just up your prices $2 or $3. If you can start to implement some of these premium branding, then maybe what you can do is you can start to position your practice as the prize, which means people are burning to try and get in there. We don't have to be trying to push them in. There's a magnetism that comes along with it as well. Pick one or several of these premium branding strategies, implement them. Start now with a net promoter score and start building that premium brand in your community. Folks, that's it for this episode. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. Your community desperately needs you learning this stuff. See you back here real soon. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.